Hello everyone, welcome to another episode. My name is Anton Babenko, and today I want to make another episode about Terraform AWS modules. And well, it's a little bit challenging for me to make this episode interesting and kind of useful for most of you guys because, well, there are not many issues. Well, Terraform AWS modules are perfect. There are no problems, everything is fixed. Well, you definitely know this already. So if you have any questions or any specific pull requests or maybe some open issues or some open questions about that, please feel free to write this in comments, and I will try to answer this kind of as best as I can, because well, that's what is this all about. So let's get started. Before that, before doing anything real, I want to go through different things and explain some things related to next stream and some things related to some other things as well. So let's get started. Well, first of all, let me think where I want to start. Okay, so I want to probably start with thanks to everyone who is supporting me, and specifically these 29 sponsors who are funding my work on different open source projects. There are a lot of individual people and a lot of people who are using work which I have been developing for years, so big thanks to them, as well as several companies who joined recently, specifically 5XL, who has joined just recently, a couple of anonymous companies who don't want to be public for some reasons, as well as N0, Covery, and well, and Open Up the Cloud as well. So thanks to all of them and to individual. So, well, I can definitely say that I highly appreciate what like pretty much all of open source contributors are doing, and especially sponsors who are actually converting this support into payment, which means I can go and buy some coffee. So thanks for that. I'm also looking forward. Well, yeah, let's talk about Spacelift. So Spacelift, I will be talking about. I will have an interview, and I will actually look into what Spacelift does, how do they do this, how they're different from some other Terraform automation tools which I have reviewed in the past, like N0, Scalar, maybe Terraform Cloud. So stay tuned for that. It's gonna to happen 5th of November, which is in 2 weeks. And yeah, I'm sure that you will get something new out of that, because the product itself is cool, and the way how they are operating is quite interesting. Let's see. On the next episode, I want to bring this pretty cool project and actually talk about it in more details. So for those who don't know, what is precommit Terraform? Well, precommit Terraform is a collection of Git hooks which you can use to do certain things. Well, this looks a little bit funny. Quite interesting. This is called bug. Okay, so precommit allows us to take care of Terraform configuration and TerraGrant and do certain things like execute different commands to fix formatting or to run tflint, tfsec, validate, terrascan, checkoff, and many other cool things are in the pipeline. One of which is almost quite ready, and it will be released, I think, at the beginning of next week, is what Maxim as well as George are working on. It's about infra cost. The idea about this hook is that by putting something like this, well, I probably need to increase font. Let's see. Okay, font is big enough, I guess. Let's make it even bigger, because this is pretty cool. I don't know if it's big enough. Okay, yeah, probably. Oh my god, it's getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, so as soon as you can put something like this configuration inside of your precommit hook inside of your Terraform project, this hook will be executed, and infra cost will be executed, and these hooks will fail if, let's say, total hourly cost is more than how much is it? 10 cents. So you will have to write some sort of constraint. I want to hear from users whether this is something useful or not. And Maxim has done pretty good job of introducing this hook and making it to work. So at the end it looks like this, where you run git commit, git add, and then git commit, and then a bunch of formatting documentation hook executed, and then it said like, oh, by the way, you are trying to commit something what is actually more expensive that we allow. This check is not something what you have to be paying significant amount of attention. I mean, there has to be some other things which you can use, like infra cost can be executed as well as many other things during your CI/CD pipeline, but I think it's quite useful. So this is going to happen next week, and that's pretty much it. So let's talk about other things. So Corina, she is working as product manager for Terraform. She has been kind of trying to get feedback, put it this way, about conflict-driven refactoring. I will put this link somewhere in the description because I think it's quite useful to get feedback from the community, and many of us were looking forward to have this functionality for quite some time. Honestly, I have not read through all of these links, and I didn't think about screen is not clearly visible. Well, should I wash my screen? Maybe it's dirty. No? I don't know what it means. Let's see. It can be maybe related to the quality of the video. Let me check. No, it's not here. Yeah. Well, I don't know what I can do with screen. I mean, I can probably increase font size to make it easy to read. But other than that, there is not much what I can adjust, like quality of the video stream itself. So as I was talking about conflict-driven refactoring, something what we were looking forward to have at some point for a very long time, especially when we got possibilities to have content for each in module and in resources. We started to think about, okay, what do we do with the infrastructure which we have already created in our Terraform configs. Hello, Bruce. Hello, Dominique. So, yeah, so let's see. There are a bunch of different things, like explanation how this supposed to be working, and well, it's just a lot of information to read. I don't have any opinion whether this is something what is going to survive, or this is maybe totally over-engineered or has very different feature. So, okay, thank you, Vishai, for confirmation that this actually works as expected, because you never know. All this streaming software is pretty hard. But actually, I see. So the user who wrote that screen is not clearly visible posted from LinkedIn. I stopped streaming actually to LinkedIn because LinkedIn is changing their platform all the time. And I think this can be the problem, that if you look at on YouTube, it's much better quality, less delays, and it's actually like perfect. But LinkedIn is nightmare to stream to. Yeah, thanks for confirmation that And I also don't see your name, so it says just LinkedIn user. Well, anyway. Right, so yeah, I will put this link in description, and if you have any feedback, I guess you can click reply somewhere here and write your feedback. We'll see. It's gonna to help many people who are working on this. Okay, good. So there are a few questions actually already from people. I just want to see if I have to answer them now or not. Let me see. This is it. This is it. Let's see. So the question from Dominique. I have one question and curious, what do you think? Let's assume we have two accounts, dev and stage. We are deploying the same Terraform code via CI/CD pipeline into those two accounts environments. So far, so good. In our repo, we have dedicated stack for, let's say, VPC endpoints. And unfortunately, we have request to create VPC service endpoint in stage and consume it in dev. Again, so far so good. But now, to deal with this scenario where we have the same repo pipeline, which required some resource deployed to the other account and used in the previous one. Yeah, so the question overall is related to the way how you can utilize multiple copies of your, let's say, AWS provider and consume it in different places. The solution to this problem, like in general, is, let me think where it can be. Yeah, it's actually, if I go to Grim, what was the name? VPC and, no, VPC peering. VPC peering is similar thing, VPC point, module Terraform. So yeah, this guy. I couldn't remember his username, so I thought it's Gremlin, but it's not actually Gremlin. So if we look into this module, like source code of the module itself, and we will see what I mean. So here we have single account, cross region. So you should be able to make a module which takes care of doing these cross account things. Like in your case, you have VPC endpoint between two different environments. And the module itself should be able to understand that there will have to be specified two AWS aliases. So like in this case, aws.this and aws.peer, these two aliases will have to be provided, and module itself will understand that they belong to different accounts and will understand who does peering and who does acceptance in terms of VPC peering. With VPC endpoints, the concept is similar, but you will have to do, I guess, endpoint and like a creation of endpoint and changing routes in another place. So it's similar, but well, it's easier to explain, I guess, with VPC peering, at least to me. So you have to write module which accept just two of these providers and then do the rest of the magic inside of it. In general, you can also do some other things like 3 steps configuration, which is less elegant to my mind, but you can still do this. So one place, and again, it works not with all resource, I have to say, but in one place you create VPC peering request, and that's it. Then in another step, you create VPC peering acceptance, and that's it. And in third place, you are connecting them together by using data source to get information about first one, second one, and connect them. So in third place, you will still have to have access to 2 providers simultaneously. You can check out this source code, and well, it does work pretty nicely. It's quite interesting because I answered this question already at least a couple times during live streams. Let's see. Good. I'm really glad that people are actually asking questions instead of me looking into pull requests and just come up with some artificial things. So thanks for that. Okay, good. Let's see next one. So, oh yeah, this is question in Russian. So I will put it in Russian and I can translate it quite natively. Is it possible to work around count value depends on resource attributes? Because in my situation, EKS cluster is being created through the module, and I have to add registered targets using a separate resource. Yeah, well, this is fidget toy from my sister. This is so like the most important part. Right, so the way how you can do this is, well, let me put it this way. So if you want to use something what is not yet known in the time of the creation, like for example instances or some other resources, you cannot put them safely inside of for each or count. No matter what you think, like yes, there are some workarounds and in some cases it can even work, but it's still not perfect, and you will spend significant amount of time thinking about why this specific edge case is not working when you don't want to do this. So the best solution, what you have to do at the moment, is actually using data source, but well, it's similar way how you do this now. So the first part is this one, resource, and then AWS LB target account attachment, and then the second line is picking up, well, it's a little bit hard to read this code in in the field, but the value here is that you first use data source to get information about existing EC2 instances, and then you put this into resource, and that's how it can work, and it will work quite nicely. The problem with this approach is that instances will be up and down, and this approach will most likely produce changes outside of Terraform configuration. So if you're using Terraform 0.15 or newer, you will experience that something has been changed outside and you don't want to deal with it. So this is one way. We have similar situation inside of, let me see, it's inside of IAM module. Well, it's not just inside of IAM, actually, it's inside of many places where we have this, well, where we have this, it's called number in this repository, commit, fixed numbers of policies everywhere. Well, this is it, and this is another one. Let me just open it and see if it is. Yes. So what we have here is kind of a little bit strange, but let me think. Yeah. So what we're doing here, no matter what kind of resource is being created, but we ask user to provide the specific value of like how many of these resources are going to be created. And in your case, if you are doing, like, let me show this piece of code one more time, you have count of length of instances inside of EKS worker. So if you need to know number of instances, you probably already know this number quite well because you created these instances. So you don't actually need to have this information through data source. while you still need to have this information in the second part of it, where you are using data source and get information by count index inside of it. So yeah, inside of count field, it's better to ask user to come up with fixed number. That's what we do in modules on line 71. Yeah, well, we do a little bit optimistic thing. So here first we try to get number of resources already specified, and if user don't specify this one, then we try to count length of this ourselves. In some cases it works, in some cases it doesn't. When it doesn't, then we ask user to specify number. Well, it's a little bit tricky to answer this question without more details, but I want to just say that there is no easy workaround, and often we put count as a number, as we used to do in Terraform 0.11. Quite funny. Yeah, and again, make sure that this is the last part of the question. How to make sure that the count is in use while it is dependent on the data, and data depends on the module itself. So it's really important to understand that as soon as you put count and then like you have count and then length of some values from the data, it doesn't mean that data will be possible to resolve because instances are not yet created. So it's just easier in most cases to do two things. First, try to split it into several steps. First is like creation of all of your stuff, and then the second one is actually attaching these instances to a load balancer, or use just another native approach which comes with EKS when it comes to attaching resources to load balancer. So let's see. Do you have published Terraform course on any learning platforms? If so, how up to date is it? Well, you ask two questions at once. So yes, I have published some things, but they're not up to date. I mean, they're quite decent, I would say, but it's not something what I would use myself right now if I go somewhere to the conferences and give some trainings. I used to do this 3 years ago, and well, 2 years ago, and even I think 1 year ago I used this stuff. But for the last approximately 14 months, yeah, about 14 months, I didn't update. It's not so old, it's not so ancient, it still contains decent amount of tasks which you can complete. Well, maybe not so decent, but still 0 basic and 1 network. At least it is practical things which you can do. It's not on the training platform like Udemy or anything else like this, for 2 reasons. One reason is that I don't want to do this continuous support. I mean, for me, this is just fun. I mean, I answer questions if you guys have fix something, if there is something to fix. And training itself was something what I used to consider before COVID hit. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe it's a good idea to travel around and provide trainings. And there was pretty big demand, and I used to do this for a very long time. But then COVID hit, I decided to invest time into product development. And I'm really excited, or well, not yet, but I will be really excited to share information about the project which I'm working on, which is almost there to kick kind of to kick the tires in the external world and hear feedback from all of you guys. But for that one, we need to wait a little bit. So let's see. So yeah, this is answer to your question about TF courses. I also have, let me think, where do I have? Well, I guess I have also maybe not so relevant slide share net. I think this is a website. I have not been there for ages, but I still have account there. So if you go here and search for Terraform AWS, I think you will find some of my talks. Well, actually, some of my talks are still here. And if you go to, let's say this one, I just want to show some of Terraform AWS best practice. I guess this one. Well, there are a lot of them rather similar, but yeah, this one is pretty good. It's like 121 slide. Well, again, September 2019. Maybe it's not very much up to date, but it still explains a lot of concepts here, so you can still go there and find it useful. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. I did it even in Russian, so if you want to get some information in Russian, here is it. Okay, let's move on to yeah, Irish guy in Melbourne. Well, I think there is actually, if I'm not mistaken, Bruce is from Australia, so you guys are pretty close. Well, I don't know, Sydney or Melbourne, I don't remember, but anyway, it's very good that you guys spent evening learning and fixing Terraform. So talking about learning and fixing, let's do something useful. So I have, again, if you have other questions, please let me know, but I don't think there are any open questions in the chat, so let me go through this stuff. So I have prepared couple open PRs, which I have to fix anyway, and I'm busy doing lots of other things during the week, so I just didn't prioritize this for the last few days. So what I'm going to do is in this PR, it's quite useful PR, I have to say. So Terraform AWS Lambda is the main part of the serverless TF framework, which is here. If you're doing serverless with Terraform, please read this. It's one page in total, but it explains some of the challenges and some approach which I recommend to do, and some things which I like how I recommend it to be solved. And there are links to all of supported AWS services as part of Terraform AWS modules, which are not official Terraform modules. If you've been affected or if you have any questions about what's going on with AWS creating their own official modules, please let me know. I can probably talk about this a little bit, but in general it's a mess. Okay, so let's go back. Well, one more question. All your inside of Terraform really useful. Is there a portal to get sample Terraform codes and files to refer and use on demand for production support like me? Terraform code to refer and use on demand. Well, I don't understand the question. You have Terraform configurations already. If you need to figure out what's going on with this Terraform configuration, you just need to understand how Terraform works and go to documentation for individual resource or individual service and well, try to figure out how Terraform works. There is no meta thing which can simply do this for you. Sample Terraform code base. Well, that's rather tricky. I find it quite useful to go to registry, especially if you're new. You can go to registry and browse modules, and then, well, then you will see this ordered by number of downloads. So you will see pretty much all Terraform AWS modules being used quite actively. You can also filter it by your cloud provider like Google, and you will see some of this. And if you go to, let's say, IAM, you can go to examples, and this is sample code, how the module developer kind of suggests it to be used. In many cases, it has to be a good starting point, but it's usually depend on effort individual contributors put into this. So like in this case, you go to this IAM module, you see, okay, this example is how to use specific submodule. You look into main TF, and you should understand, like, okay, that's how you expect me to use this stuff. So this is one place where you can get code. Another useful place, which I don't use so often, I have to say, but it's kind of it has potential to be very useful. At least that's what I thought. Let me see why my I don't know why my screen is not loading, so I will open it here. And somewhere here we can go to examples. So you go to your provider of choice, like AWS, and then you can go to examples folder, and you can see a bunch of different things, not using modules, but using individual resources. So for example, how to do relational database service. It is an example. I have to say that this is not close to production ready in any way. It is just showing how to create security group. Like, well, that's maybe not very helpful example here, but if we look into main TF, we can see, okay, that's how we create database instance, how to create subnet group. So it is some kind of information. It's really samples. It's not close to anything real. What I think is, well, again, I'm kind of biased, but well, that's why you guys are here, is you go to the module which you are using. For example, you go to the module where we are now. Let me go to Lambda module. And then, come on, I click this button, but it doesn't work. Apparently my computer is going to terminate soon. No, it shouldn't. Let's see. Right, so you go to the module which you are using, because that's how you should be using Terraform in first place. You don't have to write resources. For most of things, there is already code developed for you, which you just have to find and use. So you go to examples, and here you figure out which one you want to look, like pretty much about different features. I recommend to usually start with complete, because complete is really complete. So configuration in this directory creates all kind of resources in many different combinations to show a bunch of different features. So if you look into main TF, you will see several blocks, modules, and some description what's going to happen here. So you find module block, you can just read. There are a lot of examples always, and you scroll to, let's say, module about Lambda at edge. So this is an example of how to do Lambda at edge. You can figure out what kind of input parameters has to be passed and so on. So this is the best starting point in most cases. And I know that a lot of people have been using examples as starting point and then updated just what is necessary. So I find it really the best practice here. Hopefully I answered your questions. So let's look into this one again. Allow passing build args for building Docker file. So Lambda module has possibility to do a lot of things related to creation of Lambda package, as well as deploying this Lambda package. And one of the ways how Lambda package can be created is zip, which is, well, the old-fashioned zip file which we package and upload somewhere, and we can use it as a reference inside of Lambda function, or we can use container images. So there is a module which is called Docker build, and inside of this submodule there is a way to build Docker images. So what this submodule does is that it builds Docker image from Docker file and pushes it to Elastic Container Registry repository. Then Lambda will deploy these container images natively. So this is a complete example of how to do this deployment via, well, this is a little bit wrong. Anyway, so here we are making an image by calling this submodule Docker build. We specify that we want to create ECR repo with this name, image tag, and source context is where the Docker file is located. A little bit strange name, I think, but well, that's how it is. Context. Once we have this image created, then we pass it as a reference to image URI, and we specify package type image, and Lambda function is going to be created. So that's pretty much it. This is how to create Lambda function. This is how to create Docker image. So if we look into context folder, let's see. Sorry, it has to be in examples. Well, let's see. Yeah, let's see what this pull request is about to do. In many cases, it helps to customize Docker file. So, and Mike has done pretty good job by adding build arguments to this flow. So now let me show how this code looks somewhere here. It was pull request 217. I guess I can just cd lambda. I'm lazy to type lambda. I type la. Okay, git. So now let me get this PR checkout 217 and where is this lambda? Is it okay to have it like this, or should I change background to white? I don't understand which one is better, so I actually have another one which is called this one. Yeah, this one is a bit bigger. I think it's good. So let's look into the change which Mike proposed. So he actually added. I hate my Chrome. Now my Chrome is not working. Okay, so what he is doing is quite simple. He is customizing arguments which are gonna to specify. Thank you, Vadim, for feedback. So I will keep using dark theme for now. And Docker build module now accept one more argument, and this argument can be specified as map of Docker build arguments. Pretty simple. And that's it. Let's example is always showing what is actually possible. So here we can see that foo is going to be an argument, and this argument is going to be provided as build argument here. Again, that's really an awesome example, and I don't see any issues with that. However, there was a problem with utilizing precommit. So the only thing which I want to do right now is actually quite simple. I want to just run precommit for that. Because I reviewed the code, it looks good, there is nothing bad or nothing totally wrong. So I want to run, well, Terraform validate is probably not necessary, and it will probably fail because I use different version of Terraform right now. Actually, this is another area where Brian, one of our very active contributor in Terraform AWS modules, is actually working right now. So we will have GitHub action which does all of this for pull requests. So you don't have to know what is pre-commit on your developer machine. You don't have to run it yourself. There will be external thing which is executed on GitHub action, and it will push changes into your configuration. So this is the only change which I wanted to have, because Terraform docs is the most problematic part so far, and I expect to have just this change. Exactly, that's it. So let's see. Fixed docs. And push into that one. So now when I push this guy, it should automatically trigger the same flow, and then it will be let's see, come on, yes, now it is triggered and it will be updating soon. I think that's it. There is not much to work on this PR. I will merge it soon. Like once it's finished, then I can merge it. Now let's look into another PR. Again, if you have other PRs which you think are more relevant or more useful for you, please let me know. Otherwise, let's look into this one. So, support wait in forward action. To be honest, I'm not familiar with this behavior myself, because it's been, well, probably a half year since I worked with load balancers on AWS. So my knowledge is a little bit rotten in this area. Nevertheless, let's look, well, that's how I have to do it. Even if I don't know what's going on here, I have to learn how things are working and why they were designed this way and how to use them. So let's look into what is this about. So added weighted forward dynamic action block to use with HTTPS listen rules for multiple weighted target groups. Sounds a little bit too weighted, but that's okay. So what we have is we have feature request. Well, there is even feature request. That's cool. It's really useful when something is actually requested. So let me look into the code. I can see that weight has been added inside of target group index. And there is even example change. This is exactly the way how it should be done. Like when I see this example, I can understand that, okay, that's weight 2 and weight 1. So I guess target group index will be after. But okay. All right. Weighted through. Okay. So let's look into this one. So action rule type weighted forward. Previously we had just actions like forward, fixed response, redirect, redirect, OAuth, authenticate OEDC. Now we have one more action which is weighted forward. That's interesting. So it is so much interesting. Then let's look into changelog. Well, that's a lot of things. So what kind of resource is actually affected? This one. Let's look into changelog. So let's see. Why it takes so long time? Well, it's funny. No, it's not funny. Okay, now it works. Good. So let's see. If I search for this resource, this is bug fix. This is something else. Remove deprecated condition. So was it like this all the time? Okay, so right, yeah, I got it. I got it now. So this action rule type is not something what we actually pass here, right? The action rule type here is artificial one. Is not one by Amazon. It's gonna to be forward, right? Okay, yeah, makes sense. So when we specify that this is weighted forward, we actually specify forward, like normal forward. Okay. Can I have multiple forward rules at once? Well, the answer is I should, right? Because yeah, that's how it should be working. Let's see, target group IRN and target group. Why not target group IRN? So what I'm trying to figure out now is this action which we had before was just forward action, which means that when we specify that listener rules type was forward, we just say that, hey, assign forward to this target group, and that's it. Now there will be weighted forward, which means that it's the same forward, but we are now utilizing target group instead of target group IRN. This is a little bit magic for me. I don't understand why it's how it will even cooperate together, this one with this one. So it's something to look into. But I'm glad that there is at least an example. So let's see what kind of feature request was it. Is the request related to new offering? No, that's that's really good. It means that somebody was creative to find use case for themselves. That's good. So I'm looking for weighted action described in this resource. Good. The support is so forward target group, and then we have IRN and weight. Okay, then I'm just curious about how this will even work with another forward, because this forward and this forward, maybe they are not working well. Okay, but let's see in the documentation. I have to say that documentation is not always very up to date, but it's good starting point anyway. So forward block, target group blocks. No, I'm a bit lost. So where this comes from? This was target group IRN. Target group IRN is used inside of forward. Okay. So we have forward, and means that forward goes to one target group. But then we have another forward. Let's see. Right. Okay. So the priority is defining that this has higher priority than this one. Okay. Well, it's been quite some time when I work with it. And then inside of forward, we can specify target groups and stickiness. And stickiness is not supported. Yes, exactly. And stickiness is not implemented in this PR. Right. Okay. So we have target group So it's about action. Let's see one more time. So we have support for action, target group, and then forward. And then on the same level as target group, missing support for stickiness. I see now. Right, okay, good. So stickiness. Right, so at least this small thing is missing here. Good. It means that it has to be updated before we can do something about it. Why cannot... Ah, yeah, here is it. Yeah, my computer is not happy today. For this one, it's quite easy. But for another one, forward. Well, I'm a bit unsure how this will still cooperate together with the main forward block, because forward blocks... No. Okay, it's better to just give it a go and try to run it. Add support for stickiness as described here. Stickiness. Oh yeah, I should be polite, sorry. I think it's better now. Okay. Right, so that's pretty much it. There is almost not much to do other than run this example and see if it actually works. I mean, stickiness is good to have. This is easy to fix. There will be need to run this code. So let's go to the IntelliJ for now, and gonna to run 224 ALB 224. So in here we have to go to example, which is complete ALB. Let me just look into this guy. Maybe it's easier to remove something from here, like ACM. It will just take ages. I don't need to create all of this Cognito resources right now. HTTPS. No, okay, yeah, ACM is actually a good idea to have. Okay, no, it's it's better to just revert all of these comments back and create all of these resources, because they're actually being used here. So this is the most interesting part, which I want to make sure that it actually works. So we have HTTPS listen rule forward, right? So listener index. And then we have another priority and OEDC, fixed response, and this is weighted forward. So weighted forward is good. Can we have normal forward here as well? That's what I want to see. Okay, like this one. Okay, let's run this one and see which version of Terraform I'm using. Let's use something good. And Terraform init plugin, no, upgrade. Upgrade through is just for lazy people who don't want to delete everything and then update everything what is inside of log file. So here we are, we have everything latest. Now we run Terraform apply, and we should see a lot of things being created. So if it works, it's good. I mean, well, there are a lot of things, 39 resources to add. It's also quite interesting to see because I have not been executing it for quite some time. As you can see, application load balancer is also shown in complete integration with Lambda function, so that you can front your Lambda function, or you can send requests from application load balancer to Lambda function as a target group. So that's somewhere here. Yeah, this is quite interesting part. So the target type is Lambda, and we send everything to this Lambda function, which is again being created. So this is answering the question where to find useful code snippets. So this code is not simple to understand. I completely understand you that you want to find something smaller and simple, but this is actually being used, for real. And as I said, I have a lot of cases where people were looking into this code, copied everything and then deleted parts which they don't need, and here you are. Meanwhile, IntelliJ failed, which is okay, but let's see. So now what has happened, let me look through this. So again, this is how I have just downloaded packaged Lambda function from an artifact, from GitHub, sorry, not from Artifactory. Then bunch of resources were created for Lambda function, like roles and CloudWatch log groups and so on. Then Cognito user pool was created just because ALB can be used with OEDC by Cognito. Then bunch of Lambda function resources. Then ACM certificate has been created. And then this ACM certificate has been actually validated. So this is quite important, because you cannot use ACM certificate if it has not been validated. So once this is done, then application load balancer target group has been created, and many other things. And now main application load balancer is created. So that's pretty much it. It's not rocket science here at all. Let's see, I probably have some other things to look into. I just don't remember where. Somewhere here. Here is stickiness, by the way. Yeah, right. So this is quite interesting solution to the problem about assigning resource or attaching resources to load balancer target group. You can look into this function. It's not so complicated to kind of think about it if you read it line by line. Okay, so apply complete. Everything looks good, but let's see how good was it. Let's see. I want to go to my so in which which region was it? Usually it's EU West 1, but I want to see, yes, it was EU West 1. And I go to, can I search ALB here? Fantastic, it works. So I go to this one and I have to find load balancer. It says I have one instance. Oh yeah, right. This one instance was started just now. I thought like, did I forget to kill instance? No, this is started again to show possibility of integrating this load balancer module. So what we have here, we have this guy here, we have listeners, we have a bunch of different things here, and let's see how to even find that one. Maybe edit forward to, and this one forward to, no, this one forwarding. Okay, so it was for HTTPS, so it should be this one. Preferred config tool to work with TF. What is config tool? Like text editor, you mean? I don't know. Yeah, I guess it is text editor or IDE. So for the time being, it is IntelliJ, but soon it will be VS Code. That's all I want to say. And let's see. I guess I need to click edit here. So this is forward to. I ran config management tool to work with TF. I don't think I worked with those tools for, I don't know, several years. Before that it was Ansible, but it was literally 4 years ago, and I don't work with that so much myself. There is no need for me. I specialize in slightly different things. So I usually don't care what is inside of the instance itself and how it is configured. I know there are a lot of other folk who's kind of specialized in that one. Okay, this is okay, this one is one, right? One was, yeah, it's a bit hard to get this information now. Or this one, forward cognito. Well, I'm a bit lost where this rule end up, so let me do the following. So when I run this configuration and I don't actually know, yeah, exactly as Dmitro just says, tool which you are more familiar with, which helps you to get your job done. So if I look into this code, I just want to show the trick how I'm trying to figure out where this code was actually like executed and what actually has created this code. So I go to the code, and instead of changing it from small things like target group, okay, weight 1 and 2, which is too boring. So I'm going to change it to 23 and 87, just for fun. Because this is much easier for me to distinguish from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now if I will run it, I will also see IRN of resource which is gonna to be affected by that. So hopefully it will help me a little bit. So it is inside of this rule, and so inside of, if I search for this one, and so yeah, it was 1 and 2, and now it's changing to something else. That's good. Let's apply it. Let's go to the browser again and reload this one. And now I don't see this anymore. Why? Okay, no problem. I should be able to reload it one more time and just go to, so it should be last one. More, no, not this one. Okay, this is listener. I need to go to rules. This is not it. What about this one? Is this forward? No, this is not that one. Then maybe this one. Yeah, this one is. So this is weighted through, then forward to this one. But the default action, I see. Hello from Singapore. Yeah, it's been a couple years since I've been there. Good stuff. Right, so now I understand. So when we specified using this weighted forwarding artificial action, we are actually creating just normal forward action, which is not the default action, because default action is still the last one. So the priority of 1, 2, 3, 4, that's what we specified. I see. Yeah, overall the whole setup with these listeners is a little bit complicated, I think, when you have this as code, like in one big map, like I do now. Usually you split it into several locals and you generate some of these things on the fly, and it looks pretty good. So here we have this very useful IRN. Can I edit it somehow? Yes, probably here, forward. Yeah, this is it. So 2 and 1. So it was able to identify that I specified weight, and it figures out which one is 1 and 2. I guess that's how it does. Right. Oh no, it just failed. Oh, okay, so it actually failed. Oh, that's quite cool. So, error modifying load balancer. Target group stickiness duration must be between 1 and that one. So, target group stickiness. Where is this stickiness? Do I have this stickiness even specified somewhere? No, I don't have this stickiness. So stickiness is not specified. So where can I specify stickiness for? That's quite interesting. Why I should specify stickiness at all? Well, I'm not sure I understand. Let's look into another useful command, which is Terraform show, and definitely more, because it will be big. Well, that's pretty cool. Output with highlight and colors, but please no colors. No color. Show Terraform no color. Okay, so what I want to see is in which configuration was it actually created. So LB, what is it? No, this is it. So I'm looking for a rule, right? A rule, yes, like this one. Video, no. Forward, fixed response. Here was it weighted through. Yeah, okay, cool. Right, so by default, yeah, that's quite cool. So by default, as you can see, the code didn't care about stickiness at all. That's why it just said that duration was 0. But when I'm trying to update, it says that no, it shouldn't be 0. But I was able to update it. I mean, I was able to create it without stickiness enabled because, well, in this case, I don't really care about stickiness. This looks like a bug to me. Let's see if it is actually a bug by going to another famous place to collect bugs, which is issue tracker. So we go to this, well, let's go to this one. Whoa. Let's go to this place and let's go to search by this resource, and it says target group support, mark as sensitive. So somewhere I want to find stickiness. Yeah, stickiness block not removed from state. So this sounds like a bug somewhere there. Stickiness. So stickiness block not removed from state. Let's see what this guy is trying to do. So he's creating, well, he's doing exactly the same stuff, right? So forward with weighted things, and stickiness is not declared in resource. The listener rule should not use it. Exactly. Yeah, so that's exactly the issue which I have just discovered. So good to see who's here. Yeah, some familiar faces here, so good. Thank you for creating. Looks like plan output you created. I would recommend disabling stickiness with false. Yeah, but he didn't even specify it, so same. Right, so the workaround is to set something but disable it. That's pretty cool. That's okay. Yeah, that's stickiness. Okay, so overall the problem is not resolved. I can definitely see it, and this makes me wonder, how can we even have this functionality in the module in first place? Because I was not able to use it. I mean, I could create stuff, but I couldn't edit it. So I don't think we can even have this feature inside of module unless we find the solution. So yeah, well, that's unfortunate. Again, this is very good to find these issues and see that people were actually reporting them in, well, exactly a year ago. Cool, more than a year ago, in such ancient version of Terraform. Did we even have that version of Terraform 1 year ago? I thought it was already 0.13 all the way. No. But okay, anyway, so what I can say is that this stuff is not going to be fixed, I mean merged, because it's not possible to use it. And I will comment it here that it has to have this support for stickiness, and I should be able to change it. I mean, I should be able to change weight and run it, and then it should work. If there is a bug inside of provider, and it seems like it is, we need to either come up with some ugly hack somewhere about the stickiness setting true, false, 0, 1 or so. But it's not elegant. But again, this is the purpose of the module. So module will have to take care of these challenges between different versions, different settings, but only for the purpose of fixing bugs, not for the, well, not for the sake of being very smart and trying to come up with some logic. It's just because of bug. Okay, I think that's it from me for now, at least. So I'm gonna to end this stream, and I want to thank everyone who attended. And let's see. So next week, next Friday, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to talk about precommit Terraform hooks and explain them, and I will try to show them all in action. So we'll come up with some artificial Terraform project, and I will try to use all of them. I personally don't use all of them, like never ever, but I will try to put them as much as possible and show how each of these work. I think it will be cool. So thank you very much for your time, and let me know if you have feedback or questions or anything like that. And remember to subscribe to weekly.tf, because I think it's interesting to know what you guys are doing and share all of this information there. Okie dokie, let's put my face somewhere here. Thank you. See you. Bye.